Hey everybody, welcome back to Good Stories. My name is Josh Haynes, and this is not Oscar Mendoza joining us this month. Oscar is actually going to be out this month, and so we hope to get him back next month. But for the time being, our friend, Kagan Stanley, she is the product marketing manager for Quext, is joining us to help tell a few stories. So thanks for being on this.
Glad to be here. It's exciting.
Yeah, and you've got a couple of stories for us. So
I do.
why don't you start us off?
I will jump right in. My first story is a teen from Minnesota.
Okay.
Her name is Sydney. She was 15 years old, working at McDonald's, and she noticed there was someone in the drive-thru. It was an older woman, and she was choking. And so her first instinct, she jumped out of the window and saved this woman by doing the Heimlich in the drive-thru line at McDonald's.
She went out the drive-thru window?
She went out the drive-thru line. It took her a couple tries. She said just because she was a little teen, she wasn't able to really help her out. But with the help of a couple other people, she saved that woman. And she was choking on a McNugget. Can you believe it? Not the greatest of endorsement for McDonald's, but she actually attributed her remembering the Heimlich and her quick thinking to her autism. She had taken a Heimlich class, a first aid class for Red Cross when she was 11, and her parents said that she has always been super quick thinking due to her autism, and she really credited it to that. So it was really cool.
That is fantastic.
Yeah,
I love that part of the story. I think it's funny that how often we look at autism as this disability, and yet it is the reason she was able to do what she was able to do.
It is. It's an ability, not a disability.
Absolutely. That is awesome. Well, I'm going to take you to my next story, and we're going to go all the way across the world. Most of us know that right now the Beijing Winter Olympics are taking place, and I just wanted to tell you the story of Donovan Carrillo. He is only the fourth ever Mexican figure skater to participate. It's actually pretty awesome. He does, and he has been practicing. He's 22 years old. He's been doing this since he was 8. And the only place he could find to do this at was at a miniature ice skating rink at a local mall.
Really?
And he started going when he was 8 with his sister who was doing it. He kept with it because he developed a little bit of a crush on another little girl who quit, but he didn't.
Okay.
And he just kept going. And now here in 2022, he is in the Beijing Winter Olympics. It is one of the most outrageous thoughts to think that here's this guy who he was actually living in Guadalajara when he started, and then they closed down his local rink. And so he and his coach moved 3 hours away to Lyon, and that's where he's been practicing since he was 11 at another mall ice skating rink.
Really?
Yeah, the only other people that are even out there on the rink with him are these little classes of 10 and 12-year-old girls.
Yes.
And so he's just been doing that. It's pretty awesome to kind of see what's been going on, just simply because when he tells his story and he shares about being this there's 35 Latin American participants in the Winter Olympics right now, and he is the only Latin American figure skater.
Wow.
He said this, I just want to read his quote, something that he kind of shared with one of the other the news outlets. He said, "It's really something that motivates me to do my best and to inspire more kids in Latin America and even in my own country to try and practice winter sports." He said, "Many people told me during the beginning of my career that I was crazy for dreaming this dream because I had always wanted to be in the Olympics. And when I talked about this dream with people, they were always laughing and telling me that it's impossible for a Mexican to qualify in figure skating." He was so excited to inspire all of the different kids from Latin America and even from his home country of Mexico that he just wanted to make it out of the qualifiers. And the top 24 figure skaters in his division make it out, and he actually got to be part of that group. And so he made the top 24. He gets to skate in the free skate, which he got to do, and he's not going to medal at the Olympics this time around.
Yeah.
But literally just being the fourth ever Mexican figure skater is quite an accomplishment.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's more than any medal could ever justify. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I can only imagine what it's like to be an Olympian skating at a local small ice rink to try to practice your craft.
I know. And then to just be surrounded by little kids trying to protect their craft. Yeah. But that's awesome because, he's practicing how he started, you know, and what a tale to all of the kids practicing, saying, you can grow up and be this person.
Well, and that's part of his story. The Mexican government, once they figured out how great he was, offered to pay for his Olympic training somewhere else, and he chose to stay in León
Really?
in order to inspire kids.
That is awesome.
Absolutely.
That's really
absolutely.
cool.
What's your next story?
My next story is about a man named Ryan Pasborg in Wyoming. And he was driving to work. He was late driving to work one morning.
We've all been there.
Yes, we have. But he noticed that there was a house that smoke was coming out the windows. And the front door was open, but he didn't see any emergency lights. So he stopped and pulled over to try to see what was going on and sees 3 kids in the front yard waving him down. So he gets out of his car, and the kids tell him one more child is inside and their mom is inside too. And so without thinking, he put everything on pause and ran into that house.
Wow.
He said the smoke was so thick that he couldn't see anything, so he crawled around that house on his hands and knees and finally found the baby, took him outside and left him with the other children, and then finally found the mom after a while, and she was actually burning and couldn't breathe. She had been passed out. So he carries her outside. So once he had finished CPR and she took her first breath of fresh air, he actually drove the mother and her 4 children out to the edge of the driveway until emergency crews could respond. And then from there, he was of course praised for his hard work and doing jumping into that building, of course, without any repercussion, any second thought about it. So he was praised by law enforcement for that. And then
Well deserved.
absolutely. And even afterwards, he donated money and clothes to the family once they started living at their grandparents' house. And so even after everything was all said and done, it just showed what a wonderful person that he is.
Well, and I love these stories just simply because I think sometimes we get overwhelmed with the bad. So seeing and hearing these stories is just so good to know. Like, people can go to crazy extremes like this, going into a burning home in order to save people just cause.
Just cause, it's in their DNA, and there are people like that. It's nice to know that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually going to tell you a story also about another rescue that took place.
Okay.
This is a man named Andre Bouvier Sr. who lives in Saskatchewan, Canada. So he was actually at his house, and he was just kind of on his phone, like doing some research on his own ancestry, when his phone lit up. And what had happened was this lady named Shannon St. Onge. She needed to get her own signature onto some specific documents in another city, and she thought if she left early enough before the storm was coming in that she could get there on time and that she'd be able to take care of everything. On the way, she decided to take a shortcut and also to kind of take these back roads because she thought not only was it a shortcut, but it being dirt would help her kind of keep better traction on the road. And she ended up, the storm came in so fast that she basically just had to pull over. She calls 911. She's looking for help, trying to find anybody that can come rescue her. And they told them, like, we can't get out to you right now. Do you have a full tank of gas? And she was like, yes, it's almost completely full. And so they were like, just keep it on, try to stay warm through the night, and we'll take care, and we'll get back with you. 14 hours pass by before anybody calls her back, and she is terrified.
Yeah.
No one can get to her. She's worried she's going to run out of gas. She's worried that she's going to get covered up with the snow and all sorts of things that are still kind of happening. And so she gets on Facebook and finds a local neighborhood group that she can just kind of talk to. Is anybody close? Could anybody come help me? And that's when this 80-year-old man, who is a retired rescuer, like I said, Andre Bouvier, decides, I'm going to go. And his wife told him, like, do not do this. Like, please don't go. It's too dangerous right now. But he decides to do it anyway. So he walks out to his tractor thinking, I can get my tractor, I can clear the roads, but his tractor won't start. So by foot, he walks more than half a kilometer in order to find this lady. And along the way, here's the crazy thing. He finds 3 other cars of stranded people, totaling 7. He, by foot, walks them back, and they drive behind him as he's walking back to their house. And then they basically just kind of all hang out together and weather the storm that night. And he and his wife feed him. They provide him clearly like a safe place to stay that night, warm bed. And this is who he is.
Wow.
And the crazy thing about it is when it was over, he was asked why he did it. And his thought on humanity was this: everybody would have done what I did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It didn't
awesome.
even dawn on me. Like, everybody would have done what I did.
Wow.
So
That's incredible.
I love telling these stories. I'm super excited that you got to join us
Yeah,
and be
this
a
is
part of this
awesome.
today.
This is awesome.
Maybe you can come back and fill in for me, and then you and Oscar can hang out
Yeah.
and do something. But to the Madera Companies folks, we appreciate you. We love the fact that you guys work so hard, and we hope this was encouraging for you. Hope you have a great rest of your day.